14 months before landing on the moon, the moon lander, which was supposed to land on the moon, was used by Neil Armstrong to practice landing on the Earth. But this experiment failed miserably because Neil Armstrong was unsuccessful in landing this prototype. He was very fortunate to get himself ejected out of the prototype 2 seconds before he could face death. But after that, when Apollo 11 landed successfully on the moon, there were a lot of conspiracy theories. People with conspiracies had a saying, when the astronauts failed to have control on the lander while practicing landing on the Earth, then how did they manage to land on the moon? I welcome you all to yet another video on my channel. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you like, subscribe and tap the bell icon. It has been 54 years ever since Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. But still, people think that this was a fake plan that was made by NASA and USA. If you take a look at the conspiracy theories, you will notice that the theories are true and make sense logically. The conspiracy theories are so logical that it can make any common man think whether America has really lied to us. Has the shooting of the moon landing been done in a remote desert, whether it is just a coincidence or a well planned venture? But these theories resurface the internet every few years. In 2002 was when the moon landings was accused to be fake by a person named Bart Sibrel. When the Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin was asked inappropriate questions in the media conference, it was noticed that Buzz Aldrin angrily slapped Bart Sibrel for his inappropriate questions. This was the time when the conspiracies of the moon landings recaptured the media's attention. People had a saying that the second astronaut of the Apollo 11 mission, Buzz Aldrin, lost his temper because the truth about the moon landings were exposed. But what was the reality? Was the NASA's moon landing authentic? Or was it just a secret plan to show superiority over the Soviet Union? Before the moon mission, Soviet Union was the only country to launch a satellite in the space. Not only that, Soviet Union also had a record of sending an unmanned spacecraft on the moon, which was 10 years before the Apollo 11 mission in 1959. So what was the exact reason Soviet Union could not even send one human, but NASA could send 6 humans on the moon surface? So let us crack all these theories one by one and try to understand what was the truth. The first thing that puts doubt in the minds of the people is the camera that was used during the Apollo 11 mission. Marcus Allen is a photographer who has information about this camera. He has a saying that whenever he sees the photographs which were clicked on the moon, he always thinks how can the pictures be clicked with such a complicated camera. He also had a doubt as to how can someone click these pictures while wearing a spacesuit. These spacesuits are not ordinary, but they are fully pressurized spacesuits. There is air that is filled in these suits, due to which movements of hands and legs is not possible. Conspiracy theorist Ralph Rennie conducted an experiment in which he put his hand in a container while wearing the astronaut's gloves. Initially, he was able to move his hand and fingers freely, but as and when he began removing the air by turning on the compressor, he experienced that moving the hands and fingers in this condition is very difficult. He said that it is very difficult to focus and press the trigger button of the camera in this condition. In that case, how can the epic pictures that were clicked on the moon be so sharp, crisp, and perfect? Aerospace expert Jay Windy had a saying that the camera that was used to click these pictures was Hasselblad 500 EL camera, which was specially designed for the lunar missions. The camera was designed in a way to fit into the suits of the astronauts so that they don't have to use the hands to hold the camera. And also the click button was designed bigger than usual so that it is easier for the astronauts to press the click button. And also the focus ring was modified in such a way so that it can be rotated easily when the astronauts are inside the suit. Because when we are in a space suit, it is difficult to see left and right, upwards and downwards. And that is the reason the astronauts practiced clicking pictures when they were present on the Earth, so that they can capture amazing pictures when they are on the moon's surface. The conspiracy theorists found a mistake in these pictures which were clicked on the moon. Lunar shadows. The former head of an American based company, Rocketdyne, had a saying that the shadows reflecting in the photos are proof that we never landed on the moon's surface. He said that the shadows that are reflecting in the photos which were clicked on the moon's surface are not parallel to each other. At the time when the astronauts of Apollo 11 mission were on the moon's surface, the sun was the only source of light on the moon. So the shadows should have been parallel to each other. This is the reason why some people believe that these photos were clicked in a studio with the use of an artificial lighting. The closer an object is from the source of light, the longer the shadows appear. If you see the shadow of the lander in this picture, the shadow of the landing gear is going in one direction and the shadow of the astronaut is going in another direction. Now it sounds like the shadow patterns are created because of the use of artificial light. But experts also have agreed on the fact that on our planet Earth, the shadows do not appear parallel to each other. In order for the shadows to appear parallel, it is important that the objects are close to each other and standing parallel to each other. Also, in case if the photos are captured at a wide angle, the shadows will still not appear parallel to each other. Also, when the surface is not smooth, even in those cases, the shadows won't appear parallel. Another conspiracy theory about the moon landings is based on this photo. In this image, Buzz Aldrin is seen coming out of the moon lander and there is no sunlight reflecting on the lander side. But still, Aldrin is appearing bright in this image. So what is the reason the landing site is covered with shadows but there is a light that is reflecting on the astronaut's body? Conspiracy theorist Marcus Allen said that this is only possible when there is another source of light that is falling on the astronaut's body. Undoubtedly, there is no atmosphere on the moon, so when the sunlight falls on the moon surface, it does not spread. When the sunlight falls on the moon surface, the light reflects and bounces back. This phenomena is experienced on Earth during a full moon. In the same way, the backlight is reflecting back on the astronaut Buzz Aldrin in this image. Talking about the lighting in these images, the lighting that passes through the American flag in these images is also seen with a lens of doubts. According to conspiracy theorists, if the sunlight is reflecting on one side of the American flag, then how can the other side of the flag look perfectly bright? Actually, the flag which was put up on the moon was made out of nylon material. The speciality of nylon material is that it helps in passing the light through it very easily. But when there is no wind that blows on the moon, how can the flag be seen waving in the air? Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin said that they did not practice setting up the flag on the moon's surface, and the rod on which the flag was standing had to be twisted tightly to get it inside the moon's surface. Since the presence of gravity is very less on the moon, the astronauts had to put additional pressure to get the rod inside the moon's surface, and that is when the flag was waving more than usual, due to which it appeared as if the flag was waving in the air. Secondly, the flag was designed in such a way that it had an aluminum rod on the side. At the same time, there was another rod that was put on the top of the flag. This rod was put to ensure that the flag does not collapse. Conspiracy theorist Ralph Rennie raised such a question about the moon landing, which is impossible to explain in the Earth's atmosphere. According to his theory, when a blower is used on a pile of small stones, the pressure of the air blower can create a small gap in between the pile of stones. This blower is less powerful than the thrusters of the moon lander. Then what is the reason why the blower was able to move the pile of stones, but there was no such impact that was found on the moon landing site? The landing gear should have been completely covered with the mud, but there was no such phenomena that was witnessed during the moon landings. There was not even a little bit of mud that covered the landing gears. Physicists had a saying that few minutes before the moon landings, the rocket motors were turned down. And at the time when the lander landed on the moon, The power of the thrust was decreased by more than 75%, and that was the reason there was no crater that was formed during the moon landings. If we take a closer look at the pictures, we will notice that the lander was able to move a little bit of mud during the landings. The movement of the mud is not big enough to cover the landing gears. Let's assume that there was 25% of the thrust that was remaining, which will equal to 1250 kgs, which is good enough to create a crater if it falls on the Earth's surface. But why there was no such impact that was there on the moon cannot be explained on the Earth's atmosphere. There is one more big question which the conspiracy theorist always asks. They ask, why does the sky appear black in all the images which were clicked on the moon? Why is it always similar to the nights which we experience on the Earth? And why can't we see the stars when we are on the moon? The lens of the camera also works like a human eye. When we look into darkness, the size of the pupils of our eyes increase so that light can enter our eyes as much as possible. Similarly, the size of the pupils of our eyes decreases when we look into brightness. You must have noticed that there is darkness around when people are stargazing into the sky, so that the size of the pupil of our eyes increase and even the smallest reflection of the stars can be witnessed. We will not be able to see the stars when someone turns on the light in this situation. In the same way, during the Apollo 11 mission, when the pictures were clicked on the moon's surface was completely shining under the sun's reflection, due to which the lens of the camera could not capture the stars, because already there was a lot of light that was entering the camera lenses, and this light was more than the light of the stars. Since there is no atmosphere on the moon's surface, the sky on the moon appears dark because the sunlight always reflects on the moon's surface. The atmosphere present on the earth spreads the sunlight, due to which we are able to see a blue sky during the daytime. But actually, everything that is present beyond the Earth's atmosphere is only darkness. What do you think is the reality behind the American moon landings? Do comment your opinions in the comment section, and if you like the video, please make sure you like, subscribe and tap the bell icon for more such videos, and thank you so much for watching.